Your dog did something today that may have looked very small. They looked at your face, not for food, not for a command. Not because they were bored, D. They looked at you, and in that quiet little moment, they may have picked up more than most people realize. Most owners assume dogs mainly learn routines. The sound of the leash. The time you wake up. The way you reach for your keys. And yes, dogs do notice those things. But behavioral research also suggests something deeper may be happening. Dogs are not only watching what we do, they can also be highly sensitive to how we feel. A face changes by the smallest degree. The eyes lose energy. The mouth tightens. The expression grows heavy. And somehow, many dogs seem to notice. Research suggests dogs are especially tuned to human faces and emotional expressions. They may be able to distinguish between different emotional looks, even before a person says a word. So, when your dog walks over on a hard day, rests a head on your lap, or simply sits beside you in silence again, that moment may not be random at all. It may be response playing. It may be recognition. It may be your dog noticing a shift in your emotional state before language even arrives. And that should make you pause. Because if your dog can read your face that closely, then the question is no longer just whether they recognize you. The deeper question is this. When your dog looks at you, what do you seem to be in their world? You may have heard people say cats sometimes seem to treat us like oversized cats. But dogs appear to do something quite different. Over many thousands of years living alongside humans, dogs seem to have developed a uniquely close social bond with us. Not just tolerance, not just dependency, a bond. A human-canine bond that is unusual in the animal world. Canine cognition research suggests dogs can be remarkably skilled at following human social cues. Point somewhere, kataskai, and many dogs will follow your gesture. Shift your attention, and many dogs will often track that too. They are not just reacting to movement. They may be trying to read intention. And that matters, because your dog may not see you simply as another animal in the room. Not as another dog, not merely as a source of food, and not in the old rigid dominance theory sense either. Modern behavior science does not strongly support those simple alpha explanations for family dogs. What many dogs seem to experience instead is something more intimate. A familiar presence. A trusted presence. A being their nervous system may have learned to seek out for guidance, reassurance, and connection. So when your dog watches your eyes, waits for your signal, or studies your face before making a choice, they may be revealing something beautiful. They were not simply taught to live near humans. They also seem especially adapted to respond to us. And once you understand that, your dog's stare stops feeling ordinary. It starts to feel more like recognition. Now, watch your dog the moment you reach for your keys. The ears shift. The body rises, the eyes follow. Some dogs pace, some whine, some go very still. And long after the door closes, some remain near the place where you disappeared. For years, many people flattened all of this into one phrase. Separation anxiety. And sometimes that term may fit. But sometimes it may hide something more tender too. Because studies suggest that when owners leave, many dogs show real physiological signs of stress. Heart rate may rise, Even stress-related chemistry may increase. The body can move into a low-level state of alert. And then something interesting happens. Research suggests that hearing the owner's voice may help some dogs settle. Not just any voice, their person's voice. And studies on scent processing suggest your smell may matter in a similar way. Among the many scents in the world, yours may activate familiarity and reward-related responses in the canine brain. Think about what that could mean. When you leave, your dog may not simply be passing time. They may be holding on to traces of you. Your voice, your scent, your pattern, your return. They may wait for you less like someone waiting for an event and more like a nervous system waiting for something familiar enough to help it settle. That may be why some dogs sleep by the door. Why some press their nose into your clothes. Why some calm down when they find the place where your scent is strongest. This is not about turning every behavior into a dramatic story. It is about recognizing that attachment can live in the body. And for many dogs, your presence may be closely linked with safety. So if your dog does that, try not to rush into labels like clingy or needy. Sometimes it may be excitement. Sometimes it may be attachment. Sometimes it may simply be the quiet loyalty of a heart that has come to associate home with you. And while your dog may be reading your face and holding on to your scent, they are also speaking in another language most humans reduce to one simple word: happy. As if every wagging tail means the same thing. But it probably does not. Behavioral observation suggests the tail is not just movement. It is information. Direction matters. Height matters. Speed matters. A high, fast wag may signal excitement and confidence. A lower, slower wag may reflect uncertainty or appeasement. And some research suggests even the side a dog favors can shift with emotional state. So when your dog wags at you, they are not always saying the same thing. Sometimes it may mean familiarity, sometimes relief, sometimes conflict or uncertainty, sometimes a request for reassurance. Other dogs often read this language better than we do. They read tension in posture. They read the tail. They read the pause before movement. But humans often see one blur of motion and simply call it joy. We miss the nuance. We miss the honesty. Your dog has likely been communicating with you all along. Not with words, with a tail that changes height when uncertainty enters the room. With a body that softens when your scent is near. With a face that lifts toward yours when reassurance is needed. The sad part is not that dogs are impossible to understand. The sad part is that they may be speaking clearly in their own way, and many of us were never taught how to listen. And when you gather all of these signals together, the face, the waiting, the scent, the body language, one final discovery makes it all feel even more intimate. In 2015, research published in Science drew global attention to something many dog lovers had long felt. When dogs and their humans gaze into each other's eyes, oxytocin can rise in both. Oxytocin, a bonding hormone often linked with attachment and social connection? Let that settle for a moment. Your dog looks at you, and their brain may shift toward bonding. You look back, and yours may respond too. This does not mean dogs experience human emotion in exactly the same way people do. But it does suggest that the bond between dogs and humans is not imaginary. It may involve a real biological feedback loop of connection. So go back to everything we have walked through. Your dog reads your face. Your dog follows your intention. Your dog may wait for your return through stress, scent, and memory. Your dog communicates through posture, tail movement, and quiet nearness. All of it may lead here to the possibility that your dog is not simply living beside you. Your dog may be bonded to you in one of the deepest languages the body has. You are not just the hand that opens the food container, not just the person who clips the leash, not just the large creature in the house. You may be the face their eyes were shaped to study, the scent their brain turns toward, the presence that can influence their sense of bonding and safety, the place their attachment returns to. And maybe that is why a dog's love feels different from almost anything else in this world. Because it is not loud, it is not complicated, it is not performed, it is direct. Body to body, nervous system to nervous system, look to look. So what does your dog actually see when they look at you? Maybe not just a human. Maybe not just an owner. Maybe not only the person who fills the bowl or opens the door. To many dogs, you may become the presence their whole system has learned to trust. The scent that says familiar. The face that carries meaning. The return that helps the world feel right again. And that changes something. Because once you realize your dog may not merely be watching you, but orienting to you, reading you, and bonding through you, even the smallest moments stop feeling small. The stare across the room, the sigh at your feet, the waiting by the bathroom door, the quiet walk over when your day has gone dark. None of it feels empty anymore. Very little of it feels random. Much of it may be your dog saying the only thing they have always known how to say. You matter to me. You feel safe to me. I look for you because my world has learned to settle around you. And maybe that is one reason dogs move us so deeply. They do not love in language, they love in orientation, in attention, in return, in nearness. In the quiet decision to come closer when something inside you hurts. If your dog has a small habit that feels different now after hearing this, tell me in the comments. What do they do that now feels like a message? Because your dog may not just see a human when they look at you. They may see the familiar presence their heart and body have learned to come home to. And to them, that may mean everything.